Hey guys, for our lesson for today in reading, we are going to be working on visualizing. So our goal is I can create mental images about what I am reading. I know I'm successful when I can imagine the story in my brain and fully understand the story. So you're going to have 3 activities. The first one is going to be to complete the visualizing activity on Cami. Then you are going to watch a short video on vowel sounds. You will be reviewing vowel sounds, so you're going to be watching and learning, reviewing short vowels and long vowels. And then you will do a vowel page where you are identifying the vowel sound in each word. So, as we're looking at our skill for today, we are going to be thinking about visualizing. So visualize is a skill that good readers use. They have a picture or maybe a movie in their minds of what's taking place. So you are using your senses to help you visualize the story. The details in the story and the descriptions can help you create your own mental images. And then as we're reading, we kind of learned that visualizing helps you to be a better reader because you're going to be understanding a little bit more what the author is saying. So when you visualize, you're creating that picture or that movie in your mind based on the words. So you're going to be looking for, what do you see in your mind? What would you smell if you were in the story? What would you hear? What might you taste, or what would you feel if you were in the story? So all of those things are going to help you to imagine that you're in the story and can feel what the character is feeling, can see what the characters are seeing. So I have a short video that I'm gonna watch or play for you, and it is just all about visualizing.
Welcome to Reading Strategies 101. On today's episode, we're going to be focusing on visualizing. What does it mean to visualize? To visualize means to form a mental image of, or to imagine. I love going to the movies. Every time I go, the 5 senses that I have go crazy. The sight of a new movie, the noise of laughter, the smell of fresh popcorn, the taste of soda pop. The popcorn even feels really greasy and buttery, but boy does it taste good. Going to the movies makes me think about the reading strategy of visualizing. Because just you listening to this video, you're probably visualizing what it's like to go to a movie theater. How can visualizing text improve my reading comprehension? Visualization improves reading comprehension. It helps readers create mental images of what they're reading. It helps readers better recall the main ideas of the story being read. Visualization helps readers better remember details within the text. And visualization also makes a text more meaningful and more memorable. When you make the text that you're reading more memorable and more meaningful, you have ownership, which gives you the ability to be able to explain the text to someone else. To help you better understand the story in which you're reading, it's best to find some juicy adjectives that can be applied to your 5 senses. Seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it taste like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? When you're reading a text, remember that visualization allows you to form mental images of what you're reading about. By visualizing, good readers can better remember the main ideas or events within a passage. This week in class, we're reading about a candy man who owns a chocolate factory. My students are trying to improve their comprehension by seeing, witnessing, observing, viewing, inspecting what everything in the story looks like. What does the candy look like? What do the characters look like? By using their sense of sight, my students are constructing a mental image of what they're reading. It's improving their comprehension, and they're making a movie within their mind. They're visualizing. When using the visualizing strategy to improve your comprehension, utilize the sense of touch, touching, feeling. What does it feel like? Thinking about the texture of how something may feel can definitely improve what you're understanding about what you're reading. Think about what sounds some of the characters within your story may be hearing. What does it sound like? What did they hear? Sometimes using hearing and listening and detecting can help you create that movie in your mind. A silent movie probably wouldn't be a lot of fun, so really focus on what you heard or what the character heard. Focus on the hearing, the listening, and detecting. Think about the sounds that are being made throughout the text. Think back to our Candyman story. Oh, think of all the sweets that they tried in that story. Well, were some of them sweet, sour, tasteless, bland, greasy, scorching, bitter? Thinking about taste helps you develop that movie in your mind. It helps you with your visualization. It helps you comprehend. It helps you better understand the text in which you are reading. I know if I'm making a movie in my mind, I'm thinking about what some things smell like. I love the smell of old books. I love the smell of flowers. Sometimes the smell of pets. Oh, a good Italian dish. A fresh herb. Using your sense of smell can help you create that movie in your mind. Now let's take a moment to summarize what we've learned today about our new reading strategy, visualizing. To visualize means to make a mental image of. Do you ever watch a movie more than one time and pick up new details each time you watch the movie? Yeah, that's like reading. You know that what you're reading is really good when you feel like you are inside of the story, when you're able to utilize your five senses, seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, and smelling. It all helps you improve what you understand about what you're reading. So the next time you're reaching for a fix-up strategy to help you understand what exactly it is you're trying to read, try to reach in your tool belt for the visualizing strategy. Make a mental image of what you're reading. I want to thank you so much for watching today. Feel free to connect with us. Check us out on Teachers Pay Teachers.
All right, so as we go forward, we are going to be looking at a story in your My Book for reading, your purple book, and it is called Dear Dragon. It's going to be on page 183 to 214, so make sure you have your book out and are following along as we do this lesson. So fantasies are imaginative stories with characters and events that could not be real. Letters are written messages from one person to another, and poetry uses the sounds and rhymes of words to show images and express feelings. So, fantasies often include events that do not follow the laws of nature and time. And letters begin with a greeting and end with a closing. So, dear someone, sincerely, whoever. Poems use descriptive language and often rhyme. So, this story that we're getting ready to read is all three of those things. It is a fantasy. It has letters in them, and they use rhyme in them. So this one is packed full of really fun things. Today, we are going to be using our five senses to better understand the story. So I can use my eyes to see the way a character looks. I can use my ears to hear the sounds in the story. I can use my nose to smell things from the story. I can use my sense of touch to feel the things around the characters. And I can use my sense of taste to experience the food in the story. So we are going to be reading this story, Dear Dragon, and again, it starts on page 182, 183, and I'm going to read little bits of it and then stop and talk to you a little bit about what's happening. Hello, students! Our poetry and pen pal projects this year are combined. Upon your desk, you'll see the pen pals that you have been assigned. So on this page, we have two different highlighted words, so keywords. I see projects. Projects are tasks that take time and effort to complete. And assigned means if someone's assigned a task to you, he or she gave you some work to do. So the teacher has assigned them this project. All right. So on the next page, I'm going to try to zoom out some more. Please make sure, oops, I think I went too far. Please make sure the letters that you write are all in rhyme. Now open up your envelopes because it's pen pal time. All right, so I'm going to use this page to kind of make to visualize a little bit. And as I was thinking about this page, I was trying to picture this in my head because the picture doesn't show too much. But it says, please make sure that please make sure the letters that you write are all in rhyme. Now open up your envelopes because it's pen pal time. So as I was thinking about this visualizing and using my senses, I wanted to record my thinking in this graphic organizer. So on the left side, I have what the text says, and then on the right side, I'm going to write in what I'm picturing. So I know what an envelope looks like. I get them for like my birthday cards or for bills that I get in the mail. And so I know what they look like. I can see the white envelope and it's folded over, and I can imagine the students all sliding their finger down the side to open it. It's a thin envelope, so there's probably a letter in there. It's not going to be very thick. It's not going to be very heavy. I don't really think that there'll be any smell to it. And if I were writing the leather, I could imagine the taste of licking to seal it, and that is pretty gross, but this is the letter coming to me, so I'm not going to be licking it. So what I'm picturing is all the excited faces of the students, and I can hear them opening their envelopes. I can hear that little bit of a rip. All right, so looking at our next page. September 12th. Dear Blaze Dragomir, we haven't met each other and I don't know what to say. I really don't like writing, but I'll do it anyway. Yesterday my dad and I designed a giant fort. I like playing catch and soccer. What's your favorite sport? Sincerely, George Slayer. So as I was reading this, I noticed that it was rhyming. I see the words say and anyway and fort and sport. So George did a pretty good job of rhyming in his letter. And I can see what George did, where him and his dad built the fort. And then it's funny what Blaze is picturing, like a big giant fort at a castle. October 1st. Dear George Slayer, I also don't like writing, but I will try it, I suppose. A fort is like a castle, right? I love attacking those. My favorite sport is skydiving. I jump near Felcor Peak. Tomorrow is my birthday, but my party is next week. So as I was again listening to this, I could hear that there were some rhyming words. I can hear those and suppose. I can hear peak and week. As I'm looking at these pictures, I can also use that to help me visualize what's happening in the page. And I know that George is thinking about skydiving, like jumping out an airplane with a big parachute, but I don't think that's what Blaze was talking about. October 31st. Dear Blaze Dragomir, you know how to skydive? That's so as awesome as it gets. My dog destroyed my fort last night. Do you have any pets? Happy birthday, by the way. I don't have mine till June. I'm trick-or-treating as a knight. We're heading out real soon. So I see get and pet and June and soon. But as I was thinking about this one, I wanted to kind of think about my senses and really make that a picture in my head. So on the page, I have that letter from George, and I can use my senses to picture in my mind the details in the text. So I'm picturing George trick-or-treating. I can hear his night costume clinking because it might be metal. I can hear him yelling at his dog when he grabs his cape. And I can hear the dog maybe growling. I know my dog, whenever you play tug-of-war with him, he likes to growl. I can feel the cool air of the fall night. I know when I take my kids out trick-or-treating, it's usually pretty chilly. And then I can picture his dad walking with him as they go to leave the house. When I look at my page, though, Blaze is visualizing something very different based on what the letter said. Blaze is thinking about how George is going to be a knight, and in his situation, I don't know if knights are always the best thing. If he's a dragon, knights might come and attack him. So what I'm using in my graphic organizer is I'm looking at what the text says. It says, I'm trick-or-treating as a knight. We're heading out real soon. And then I'm picturing George in his night costume, ready to head out with his candy bag and his dad with him. November 14th. Dear George Slayer, nights are super scary. I don't like to trick or treat. Brushing teeth is such a pain, I rarely eat a sweet. My pet's a Bengal tiger, and tonight she needs a bath. What's your favorite class in school? I'm really into math. All right, so I am getting lots of images in my head. Blaze having a Bengal tiger, but George is thinking about like just a kitten, with some very different ideas going on. December 16th. Dear Blaze D, my favorite class is art. I made a mold of my left hand. Next, we'll craft mosaics using pebbles, stone, and sand. Yesterday, I won a prize in this year's science fair. My towering volcano blasted lava everywhere. He's still doing a really good job of rhyming and keeping it into a poem. January 18th. Dear George S., my father's won our local fire-breathing contest twice. He still retains the record, melting 50 cubes of ice. Do you have any hobbies? I enjoy collecting rocks. I keep them in a secret place inside a precious box. Again, I see a couple words that are some key vocabulary words. The definitions are at the bottom. So retains, if someone retains something, he or she has something and keeps it. So his dad is holding on to the record. He's keeping the record. And precious is something important or valuable to you. So I'm going to stop on this page and I'm going to do some more thinking about my visualizing. And I can use my senses to picture in my mind the details in the text. I am picturing Blaze's dad shooting fire out of his mouth, and I can feel that the air is very hot. I can hear Blaze cheering for him because it's a contest, and I can see his 50 ice cubes melting. The picture on 199 helps me to visualize some of those things. So thinking about putting that into my graphic organizer, what the text says, my father's won our local fire-breathing contest twice. He still retains the record, melting 50 cubes of ice. And what I'm picturing is the giant dragon shooting fire out of his mouth, and I can see the 50 ice cubes melting from the heat. Okay, so you guys are going to finish reading Dear Dragon, pages 200 to 215. You can log into HMH to listen to the text if you would like, and then you are going to be completing the visualizing graphic organizer for 2 parts of the story. On page 202 and 203, Blaze writes a note to George telling him about how his dad is going to take him flying. When you read that, I want you to be thinking about, what do you see? What do you hear? What did you feel? What did you smell? I want you to use your senses to complete the graphic organizer in Kami. And then the second page that I want you to practice visualizing on is page 205. And Blaze writes to George and says, I'm psyched about the picnic and I can't wait to attend. So when you read this, I want you guys to think about the boys, what would be happening when they meet at the picnic? What would you see? What do you think you would hear at a picnic? What would you feel? What would you smell? And what would you taste at a picnic? So you're going to use your 5 senses to complete the graphic organizer in Kami. So this is what your Kami page will look like. You've got the text right here, and you're going to tell me what you pictured using both parts, or all of your senses. And then you've got the second part in the second box, and then use your senses to tell me what you're picturing. After you complete that, then you will be watching a short and long vowel video, and then completing the vowel page.